I had no idea before I started doing this that it was going to completely change everything for the better, including my mental health. And now I get to do things in a way that feels authentic to me and just way more satisfying. You've probably heard lots of people talk about setting intentions as a way of manifesting what they want. But did you know they can actually improve your mental health and well-being as well? In this video, I'll talk about why, as well as how to set intentions for better mental health. So let's talk about intentions. I don't know about you, but I want to feel like I'm in control of my life, even if there's a whole bunch of stuff I can never control. All you have direct control over is yourself, your words and your actions. But that's more than enough for you to be able to make smart choices and to live the type of life that you want to. Intentions are a way of putting your desires into words, and they help you to think about what you aspire to achieve in life, as well as the type of person you want to be. They play a huge role in helping you to improve and maintain your mental health and well-being. And that's because your intentions are like a roadmap to guide you as you go about your day. It's about deciding where you're heading and why, so that you can then be more considered as you work through the how. I say that because intentions don't automatically mean that something just happens. You also have to do the work. You can intend to climb a mountain all you want, but it's not going to happen if you just stay at home. When you set intentions, it's about considering what type of person you want to be, what you want out of life, and also being thoughtful about the way you move through this world. Intentions are not magic wishes, but they can help you to do and be whatever you want. You need to give it some thought because action without thought is like shooting without aim. I have 3 tips to get you started on how to set intentions, and these are things I use on a daily basis, and then I'll tell you where you can find even more tips to help you set even more effective intentions. First, consider what you want out of life. Because having clarity around where you're headed helps you to set focused intentions that feel more meaningful. And that means deciding on what type of person you want to be and then making choices accordingly by setting your intentions in line with who you want to be. Now, most of what I'm talking about in this tip is related to your mindset. And that's an important point to pick up on because the way you think and the way you approach the world influences the choices you make. And that's actually what shapes whatever happens next. Whether you put out positive energy or negative energy, what you give is what you get. So by all means, when you are considering what it is that you want out of life, feel free to think about things that you want to accomplish or have or whatever, but please spend the bulk of your time really giving thought to how you want to feel about your life. And if you don't know where to start in terms of what you do want out of life, consider what you don't want and then work from there. Okay, next, consider your why, because this enables you to much better understand what drives you so that you can align your intentions with what feels meaningful to you. Consider the things you thought about in tip 1 and ask yourself, why does that matter to me? And in addition to that, how is it going to A, help my mental health and well-being, and B, help me move forward a little each day? For example, if you want to be kinder, why? Why does that matter to you? And more importantly, how is it going to help you to grow and to be the best version of yourself possible? Look, my entire podcast, Let's Talk About Mental Health, is pretty much based on the premise that the purpose of life is to challenge ourselves to learn from every experience that comes our way, the good, the bad, and everything in between, and that we can treat everything as a learning experience in order to take better control of our lives, which in turn helps you to focus more on the stuff that feels genuinely satisfying instead of being stuck on the hamster wheel of life, trying to chase happiness and then wondering why we never seem to hold on to it for too long. And that's because you can't, because happiness is fleeting, whereas satisfaction is much longer lasting. When you understand why you want whatever you want out of life, you can then look at it more objectively and make thoughtful decisions about how to approach it instead of just chasing something and then wondering why it doesn't make you happy when you finally get it. And that leads into my 3rd tip, which is focus on what really matters to you. Because there are so many things in this world competing for our time, energy, money, and attention, but in most cases, the things that matter most to us have no cost or very little cost. It's really easy to get caught up in setting intentions around material things, and no judgment from me. You don't have to live in the middle of nowhere to find peace and satisfaction in life, but this is about getting your priorities in order rather than letting yourself be distracted by bright, shiny objects. Instead, put first things first. The stuff that matters should be what we spend the bulk of our time focusing on if we want to feel satisfied and fulfilled in life. Otherwise, what's the point? So if it matters to you, make it matter. Set clear intentions for yourself about what that will look and feel like. For example, it might mean making sure that you leave work at a decent hour so you can spend time with your loved ones. And then honor your intentions by following through on them consistently. And remember that most of the things that you think matter today, you probably won't remember in 5 months, let alone in 5 years. And so here's the thing I want you to take away from this video. When you choose to be thoughtful and considered in your intentions, then you can start to create an amazing future for yourself that feels more authentic and inspiring. And that is what true success is. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about setting intentions. I'd love to know. And I talked before about how your mindset influences the choices you make, which is something that I talked about in this video, where I looked at how to shift your mindset to change not only your mental health, but also your entire life. So click here to watch it next. Thank you very much for joining me today. Take care and talk to you next time.